Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar this afternoon slash evening for us over here. My name is Rosie, and I am an examinations contractor here at the Ophthalmology Foundation. Um, just as a quick overview, the Ophthalmology Foundation aims to improve global healthcare through education, especially in under-resourced countries, and it's been in operation for the past 5 years. So we run several different programs in education, in fellowships, and then we have our latest initiative, which is our examinations, which we're here to talk to you about today. It's very much an international organization. We have a board of directors, which is made up of global members around the world. And also we have an exam specific committee, also made up of members throughout the world. So throughout this, we'll have some of our expert panelists talk to you a bit about our examinations and how we can support you. And there's also the option for a Q&A at the end. So thank you if you've submitted a question upon registration for the webinar, or you can just drop them throughout the course of the webinar in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to hand it over to our panelists, firstly, just to introduce themselves. Nicola, if you want to start off.
Sorry, I was on mute. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicola Quilter, and I'm the Examinations Director for the Ophthalmology Foundation. I come with over 20 years' experience of running international ophthalmic exams.
Thank you. And Vicky?
Yeah, my name's Vicky and I'm an examinations administrator for the Ophthalmology Foundation.
Thank you. And then Dr. Sharma, if you and your team would like to introduce yourselves as well.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Rishi Sharma. I'm the president of the Ophthalmology Society of the West Indies. And we've just entered a collaboration with the Ophthalmology Foundation to try and increase ophthalmic education for the people in our region. And so we're quite excited to be part of this. I'd like to welcome you all and hopefully we have a very productive and interesting evening. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nicola, I'm just going to pass it over to you. I believe you have a presentation ready to go. Would you like me to share my screen?
Thank you.
1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, excellent. Great. So, afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to talk a bit about the Ophthalmology Foundation as a whole, and then also the exams. So just to touch on, the Ophthalmology Foundation is an international organisation and has been running for about 4 years. Next slide, please. The Ophthalmology Foundation works with eye care professionals, societies, organisations to enhance and provide ophthalmic education. And the special focus is on low-resourced and undeserved countries. We are helping ophthalmologists become better teachers, and we commit to the strengthening the ophthalmic education with an overall ultimate goal of improving eye care and advancing the restoration of vision for everyone worldwide. Next slide, please. So we have a board of directors. You can see the president is James Mazzo. We have several vice presidents, and our board is a worldwide. They come from all different countries. It's an excellent board of senior ophthalmologists and also individuals from industry. So we have a lot of support internationally. Next slide, please. Our 4 key programme initiatives are faculty development, accreditation, fellowships, and examinations. As I said, I'm going to talk about examinations today, but we believe our 4 programmes work hand in hand with each other. So you train to become a doctor, then you decide to become an ophthalmologist, and we have our exams, which we'll talk about. You move through the exam process, and then you can have the opportunity of applying for one of our fellowships. And I'm proud to say that we ran over 100 fellowships in 2025. and they are fully sponsored. You then go on to faculty development, so you become a senior ophthalmologist and provide tools and techniques and resources to improve ophthalmologists and eye care around the world. And then we have accreditation, and that's where we review the ophthalmology residency training programs and look at ways to improve and meet international standards. So we look at this as they work hand in hand and allows individuals like yourselves to move through each one of the programs and processes. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about our examinations, and the Ophthalmology Foundation exams are more than just written tests. They're globally respected benchmark of knowledge and excellence. They help ophthalmologists at every stage of your career to demonstrate that you've got the expertise for you to gain recognition and build confidence and deliver better care to your patients. Why these examinations? So we run these exams because they serve several critical purposes. They set and maintain high standards in ophthalmology across the globe. They benchmark knowledge and expertise of professionals at all levels, supporting your career progression. And most importantly, we believe that patients, your patients, in turn receive the best possible care. Our exams are run online. They're available at a centre near you, designed to elevate your knowledge and global standards. And we say that we bring them to you anywhere in the world. And so we have a 100% success rate. So even in the remote parts of India that we've had last year, for example, we managed to find an available centre with a computer for that trainee to take the exam. So they don't have to travel, because we understand that, you know, travelling far for these exams also brings on another level of stress. We run them twice a year, in March and in September. And as you can see from this slide as well, we're also in partnership with Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia and also Wilmot Eye Institute in Baltimore. So that underscores our global relevance. Next slide, please. So the examinations are structured into three sections: visual optics and clinical ophthalmology, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But they're recognised certifications to enhance your professional career. Our exams are aligned with the American Academy of Ophthalmology in basic and clinical sciences, and we have looked at the curriculum for the American Academy, and we've kind of we've reduced it into one document so that it's kind of easy for you to refer to, and that is on our website. So we're not saying that you need to go and spend hundreds of pounds on the American Academy books, but we align our questions with elements of their BCSC. The content is created by US and international experts in every specialty within ophthalmology, and it's revised periodically. It allows to compare how we perform with other institutions as well, and our questions are criteria and reference. You also see from this slide that we offer $1,000 awarded to the top passing candidate of the clinical ophthalmology exam, and that's over the 2 sittings in any one given year. That's a fantastic opportunity, and I had the pleasure of actually notifying our successful candidate last year who trained, and it was fantastic. But telephone call for me, because I phoned them and let them know that they were the top passing candidate and they were successful, and they're actually going to use their grant to attend the American Academy meeting in New Orleans this year, and then extend their stay to go to an institute in the US and do some observership. And next slide, please. So the benefits of the exam, the benefits of our exam are significant. They're internationally recognised, and yet I have to emphasise they cost less than any comparable exam and can be taken in the candidate's own country. We scale our fees based on the World Bank Index, making them accessible and fair for candidates in all regions. Candidates can earn points towards an IOL fellowship, as I mentioned before, and as I mentioned, the highest passing candidate across both sittings can benefit from the $10,000 PIE award. Hosts also benefit from joining our global community, benchmarking trainees and receiving honorary FIOF, which after 5 years of hosting becomes permanent. If you're successful after passing our clinical exam, then you will be awarded the post-nominal acronym FIOF. We're also working with the College of Glasgow, and we hope to have some reciprocity with them in the near future so that trainees will be able to also parallel move through their system. And next slide, please. So what we offer, the examinations, as I said, are structured into three components, all use single best answer format with 1 point per correct answer. You'll be pleased to hear there's no negative marking. So you're not going to get any reduction from actually, if you don't know the answer or you're unsure of having an educated guess. So if you come to a question that you're not sure of, on the system, it does allow you to move forward, and then you can retract and go back and answer that question later on if you have enough time. We also offer exemptions from the visual and optics sections for eligible candidates. And those candidates are ones that have maybe passed the ICO exams prior to and including 2022, or any of the college exams or COEXA exam. As I said, the exams are mapped to the BCSE curriculum. We provide a suggested reading list and materials via our website. And in addition, we're excited to say that we are collaborating with CyberSight to create a dedicated preparation tool to support you further. The visual science is 120 single best answer questions over a 3-hour period. Optics and refraction is 60 single best answers over 1.5 hours. And clinical, as you can see, is 160 questions over 4 hours. We've done a lot of follow-up with our trainees or candidates that have taken the exam, and they all believe this is sufficient in that amount of time to answer that number of questions. And on the screen, you can see the topics that are covered. And next slide, please. So this is an example of a visual sciences question. I'd just like to say that our exams are translated into several languages: Chinese, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. So we run those parallel on our system if a candidate chose to take it in a different language. But predominantly we offer this in English. And we're not testing language, we are testing knowledge. So you will see quite a repetition in how the questions are structured. So, for example, regarding the blood-retinal barrier, which one of the following statements is most likely to be true? So we always use regarding, and which one of the following is most likely to be true. And then you will see from A to D down the side, they are actually listed in alphabetical order, which makes it easier for the candidate to recall if they've passed and moved on to the next one. It's easier to come back and think, oh, okay, yeah, I knew that was A or B. C or D. Next slide, please. This is an example of optics and refraction question. So again, which one of the following is a type of question that we would ask? Again, as you can see down the left-hand side, they are again alphabetical order. Next slide, please. A lot of our exam questions for the clinical paper include photographs or charts. And so it's a more clinical type question. So it will describe maybe a picture. We are incorporating videos going forward because the exam is online, which will allow us to show movements of eyes, etc. And then again, as you can see, they are in alphabetical order. They will appear on the screen. You're able to select one of the correct answer and then click next, and then that will go into our system on the online. And then at the end, it will provide us with your data on how well you answered. And then from there, we will use what we call a cut score. Our education committee, exams committee, are international. There's about 25 to 30 individual senior ophthalmologists, and they will look and standardize a paper with the Angoff method. And they would do that prior to the exam taking place. So prior to you sitting for the exam, we already know what the cut score is. Next slide, please. These are a few candidate experiences. I was lucky enough to go to the American Academy this year, and got talking to a lot of candidates that have already taken, and these exams have really made a difference already. Many candidates in dozens of countries are taking them, and this has helped advance their career and hopefully raise the standards. I actually got talking to one candidate who took it recently, and they said passing the exam opened doors they never thought were possible, and that was because they actually moved on to take one of the fellowship positions with the IOF. So they were very excited about this year being able to go and carry out a fully sponsored fellowship by the Ophthalmology IOF collaboration. And they wouldn't have been able to do that, they don't believe, in if they hadn't have passed the exams. It's not necessary, essential to pass the Ophthalmology Foundation exams at the moment, but actually it's going to be a prerequisite for applying from 2027. Next slide, please. There's further information here, but I just want to say that looking ahead, we have ambitious plans. So we aim to reduce the cost of our exams even further, add more partners globally, increase access to underserved regions, and expand our offerings with additional fellowships and subspecialty exams. So from September this year, I keep saying next year, but this year, we are going to start running subspecialty exams in retina and glaucoma. So they will be specialised. We're setting up teams for each subspecialty. We're starting with two of the main subjects that have been agreed by the committee, and then from March we'll add an additional two, and they're on. I'd like to say as well, it's just important for us that we listen to our candidates and colleagues. So if you have any feedback or ideas what you'd like to see in the future, then obviously let us know, because it helps us to improve and evolve as an organisation. I think in summary, the Ophthalmology Foundation exams are at the heart of what we currently stand for, and they're setting and upholding the highest standards in ophthalmology. Every candidate that takes our exams becomes part of our global community, and committed to excellence in eye care. And I think what this allows us to do as well is it allows us to build a community and exchange everyone, people exchanging details, and the world becomes a smaller place, especially in ophthalmology, as they say. But we're determined to make these even more accessible, relevant, and impactful. Yeah, we're glad that you're able to join this afternoon. If you've got any questions, then please pop them in the box, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Dr. Sharma, we are going to hand it over to your team. And if you have any words you'd like to share, please feel free. And also, just again, for all of our participants, we do have the live Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So please feel free to add some questions there and we'll get to them at the end. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much. When I read about what you were about and what we were entering into, I was quite excited. I think education for junior doctors and ophthalmology trainees is a very important thing. And if they can have it in their own environments, I recognize well what you say about having to travel to different places to even do courses to sit exams. So I think this is a very big step in the right direction. I'm sat here joined with some of the past presidents of OSWI, the immediate past president, Dr. Terence Allen, and Dr. Deo Singh, and Dr. Sonia Johnston. So we would be happy to answer questions, but I think we're just very excited about where this could take us at the moment. So thank you very much. Any guys want to add anything? Are there questions from the floor?
Thank you. I think it's a good opportunity, and we're really pleased to be working with you. As I say, we started running the exams last March, and there's been a great uptake from many countries. So we're currently running in about 80 different centres, and a wide spread. and we've signed several MOUs. So we're not a membership organisation. We're actually a collaborative organisation. So that's our main aim. We want to collaborate with as many organisations and societies in ophthalmology as possible. And what our aim is to open this exam up to everyone. And it being online, unlike some other exams, it allows us to do that. As I said, our costs are as low as we can at the moment, as we're just starting out. But it's in compared to other international exams, it's relatively low. And our aim is to reduce that further. And we can do that by, getting rid of the paper exams and the marking and allowing us to do that online. And we work with a company in India that allows us to administer the exams online. So it's a seamless process. Candidates can log on through the website, set up a portal with their photograph and upload their certificates, and then apply for each of the exams through there. We pride ourselves as well. I forgot to mention that the turnaround of results is within 2 weeks. We give ourselves 14 days to inform the candidates and the institutions of the results. And actually, I think the March last year, we did it within 10 days. September, we're very proud to announce the results in 8 days. And I think for anyone that's taking an exam, it's quite stressful afterwards waiting for your results, so the quicker we can get them out, I think it helps everyone relax and know where they're at. So we've got 14 day turnaround, but we do it in less than that. So I think that's important. And I think, being able to take it in your own, you can't take it in your own living room, but to take it in an institution that's close, I think is important. As you say, and we said earlier, it reduces travel. So, and that's a cost as well, on top of, actually paying for the exam. So I think that's important. And I also think that we looked at the cost overall, and even though it is less, it's still an expense and one that, if building into everyday life, on top of that is sometimes it's too much. So we have also implemented a 3-way payment system. So when candidates apply, they can opt to pay in 3 installments. So they'd make the initial payment when they fill out the application, and then the month after they will get an email to say your next payment is due, and then subsequent the third month, so another email to say your payment's due. So actually, the cost of the exam can be split over 3 separate payments, which I think also helps. But we've done all these and implemented these over the last 18 months, and that's due to candidates letting us know what's difficult for them, what would help them. We want them to pass, so we're trying to make it, it's a very high standard exam, but everything else around it that we can help with, and that's what we're trying to do.
Excellent. I think Dr. Deo Singh has a question or comment.
So my concern is this, that we are often producing people who are certified. They pass exams and so on. But how should we be marrying this with training? In other words, I have a paresthesia, but can I do a cataract? Can I do a cornea? Can I do this? Can I do that? What is the extent of my practical knowledge? And let me say this, that one of my disappointments is that, as opposed to, say, in accountancy and certain other professions, we don't have a culture of apprenticeship. That has gone by the wayside. How do we get back to that kind of thing and marry the certification with the experience and practical expertise?
That's a good question. I think our exams are set to the highest standard, so they're comparable with the Royal College of Surgeons in the UK, the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons at Glasgow again, and we have the backing of Wills and Wilmer Institutes in the US. So we can say that they're an exceptional standard. And marrying that along with your training, we recommend that our exams would be taken in the first, second year of training for an ophthalmologist, the visual and optics, and then the third, fourth year for the clinical ophthalmology. I think, you know, with that and our educational department, we can run webinars, we can run training programs with you in conjunction. We can also then encourage your trainees to move on to our IOF fellowship program. And then again, and then after that, we can also work with you in accrediting your institution and your society along that level, along that same standard. So I think as well.
There's your internet.
Maria, actually, okay.
I think Nicola's internet has dipped. We're
Oh,
just
it's good,
checking
yeah.
now.
That was glitchy. That's the way it is.
No, but I think she's making some very
As
interesting
part of
points
our
that-
exams committee.
Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's making some very, very valid points that, you know, before you can get to the practical sessions, you have to have the theory and the education. And I think this will align well with that. And then, as she mentioned, I say the fellowships and so on, with on-the-ground training with whichever institution you're working with, I think it forms a strong platform in which to move forward. So I think she's quite right.
Sorry, I lost you then.
I think that point that Dr. Sharma just made is one that needs to be explored and maybe built upon, and that is to say, the fellowship training opportunities in various locations, to enhance the training experience of our young colleagues, but also to give our, shall I say, senior colleagues the opportunity to share of their expertise with those who are being trained.
Sure, I think that's important. And I think I'd just like to say about the fellowships is that, we ran 100 fellowships last year. We've got a lot of industry involved within our organisation, and as you can see from the board, so we get a lot of sponsorship. They're fully sponsored fellowships. So some are observerships, some are fellowships. It depends actually where you go and the restrictions. But some of it depends. I think if you go to the remote part of India, some of the centres there, you actually get really good hands-on experience. So it can be really, really worthwhile. I think part of applying for the fellowships going forward will be that they take and pass the Ophthalmology Foundation exam. But that also means that we're taking the highest caliber of a trainee and putting them into through the fellowship program. So I think now's a good time for trainees to take the exams and be successful, because it will be prerequisite from 2027. But they're fully funded. They're 3-month fellowships, 6 months, and I think there are 2-year fellowships. So I think that's quite important as well. And your trainees, it's done on a point system. So the more points you have towards an application, the more likely you are to obtain a fellowship sponsor. And they cover all subjects. There's some fantastic centres of glaucoma, and I think there's a great one in New York for cataract. And the prerequisite for that is that they come back to their own institution and then are able to teach others. So they have to go back to where they're working or they originate from, to distribute their skills and their increase awareness of what they've learned back in their own institution.
Yeah, excellent. You sort of preempted my next question was that, is it so the general ophthalmology fellowships that you do, or is it subspecialty, but can you answer that with having glaucoma and cataract and whatever?
Yeah, there are general, I
Mhm.
think. But I think it's, if you're really passionate about glaucoma, for example, you can go to Germany in a really top center for glaucoma and get the best experience possible. I think, I think the full fellowship, I mean, I don't work in fellowship, so excuse me, but I think it's about $6,000, $7,000 for sponsorship. And in a lot of those places as well, we help you get accommodation. It covers your food, the cost of living, for example. So that we do work that out, and I think we believe that that's enough funds for someone to go for a 3-month fellowship. The training observership is obviously included, and the flights are covered, etc. So it is a fantastic opportunity, and then we hope that you then keep in contact with the person that you've gone to and make friends and acquaintances, and then obviously there's a mentorship that carries on through your training. It doesn't just end after the fellowship ends, it then is long lasting. So I think there are a couple of fellowships where the host then comes and visits you, for example, and so it kind of builds up relationships. And I think as you say, you become friends and able to support each other going forward. So I think that's quite important as well.
It is absolutely. I will confess, I did my retina fellowship, it was me 15 years ago now, and I'm still on a regular basis in touch with my mentor, and he has been out to Oswey to lecture at the conference, and he's coming this year as the Gart Taylor speaker for our eponymous lecture. So it's a fellowship, yes, but it is a relationship that you'll have for life. So
Yeah, and I think that's important.
recommend
As much as important as what you learn as well, isn't it? So
yeah. And you'll always, no matter what you see there, you'll always see circumstances arise in your practice that you didn't have the opportunity to see at that time, but I'm sure your mentor would have seen it. So it's always worthwhile dropping a line, a phone call, or WhatsApp saying, listen, I've got this to do. Any tips? And you'll be amazed how helpful that is, just to have that
connection.
shoulder to lean on. Yeah, absolutely. Are there questions from the floor? Yeah, or anything at all? No?
Yes, I was just about to say myself, you got there before me, Dr. Sharma, that perhaps we could move into the Q&A session, because I know we have a few that people submitted that Vicky has a list on, and I can see there's a few that have come through as well. So Vicky, I'm just going to hand it over to you if you want to share the questions with Dr. Sharma and Nicola.
Thank you, Rosie. So first question we've received is, what is the exam fee?
So there are 3 separate. There's visual optics and clinical, and they range from $450 to $650 for the clinical. You can spread that over the 3 payments, so you can go online, register, make an initial payment, and then spread the cost. Obviously, what money we take from exams, we are then covering our costs, but we're also putting back in. So that money also goes on to fellowships. It goes on to enhancing the exams. So we're running some specialty from the end of this year. So we don't look to make a profit. We look to make a surplus to be able to just put back in and fund other projects.
Thank you. Another question is, how many exams do they have to complete before they are awarded FIOF?
So we have the visual sciences, optics and refraction and instruments, and then the clinical ophthalmology exam. If you have passed the ICO exam, for example, then you may be exempt from taking our visual and optics. And we're not looking for trainees to reset something you've already done. And then you can move on to our clinical. But in theory, you have to pass our clinical ophthalmology exam to be awarded FIOF. So it's the clinical that you need, but you could possibly be exempt from the visual and optics.
That's my next question. So what are the exemption rules? So is it just ICO, the year, or is it FICS Part 1, Part 2, etc.?
Yeah, so I mean, always if you have a query, then obviously contact us and we'll confirm. But if you've passed ICO exam prior to and including 2022, then you will be exempt from the visual and optics. After 2022, we're not able to confirm the standard of the ICO, so we don't offer exemption then. We do offer exemption from any of the UK exams, Part 1, Part A, and then also COEXA. We are also looking at the EBO, the European Board of Ophthalmologists. If you've taken any of their exams, then we'll also offer exemptions. But if you've got a query about an exemption, then obviously contact us and we will confirm.
Thank you. We offer online sessions that assist in getting ready for the different exams or a revision syllabus.
So we have a suggested reading list, which is on our website, and that lists several books and also some free websites. I think there's a good one on there for glaucoma, quite interactive. We also are happy to run some webinars that will include how to answer a question, how to answer the questions, and what to prepare for. So we will always do that. And as I said, we're working with CyberSight at the moment to have a online preparation tool to prepare you for the exam, and that should be available in the next few months.
Thank you. Another question we've received is, the trainees have to take part 1 and 2 together, or can they do 1, 2 and 3, or 2 and 3, vice versa?
So we run twice a year. So we run in March and September. So candidates, it depends how confident you are, but so the visual sciences is 3 hours and the optics and refraction is 1.5. The majority of candidates take both of those together. So that's 4.5 hours of exams. We have a very small amount of candidates that are looking to take all 3 exams. The clinical is 4 hours, so it would be a long day. And statistics, I've been working at international exams for ophthalmology for 20 years. And statistics show that if you took all 3 exams, then those trainees have a much lower pass rate. And that's because you get tired and you know, it's a lot of looking at questions and answering. And so my advice would be to either take visual and then optics in 6 months later, or take them both together and then if successful, which we hope you are, then apply for the clinical thereafter. I think it depends how confident you are. A few years ago, I had a really confident student, a trainee candidate, who took all 3 exams and was successful in 1 only, and couldn't understand. But it depends how confident you are in taking all 3 exams or 2 exams. But I think it's down to the individual. But our recommendation is not to push yourself too much and spread them out.
Thank you. This one's for Rosie. Rosie, could you post at the end of the webinar, please, our contact email so that people can contact us directly regarding exemptions, please?
No problem. I can do that.
Thank you. After completion of all exams and then doing a fellowship, which countries would it be recognised as being a specialist?
No, it's an international exam, so it's internationally recognised. However, it isn't a license to practice. So if you take these exams, you won't be able to go to the US and work, for example, but it will be recognised that you're working in that international standard. And I think it's important to say that if you go for an interview against your colleague who hasn't taken one of these exams, then you've got more chance of being recognised as, you know, for that position. And that may just be the thing that sways them for going, you know, employing you. Because it is internationally recognised, it's a comparable exam to those of the UK or the US. Yeah, it's not a license to practice. Some countries, Yemen, for example, are using it as a license to practice. But it depends where you're looking to move to. We are working with the Royal College of Glasgow, and hopefully in the near future we will be announcing that there's some reciprocal agreement between the 2 organisations, and that you'll be able to move through that system. So you would be exempt from their part 1 rather, and be able to move on to their clinical. So you would be then able to be eligible for the membership of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons at Glasgow. So yeah, I think it is internationally recognised as a standard.
The question has just cleared about 10 questions so far I have regarding Glasgow, so thank you for that. What are the prerequisites to the exams?
You have to be medically qualified, you have to be a doctor, and you have to be looking to ideally in the first year of ophthalmic training. I think if you haven't had any ophthalmology experience, you're very unlikely to pass. So you have to be a medically trained doctor, and you have to have, I believe, 1 year's experience in ophthalmology.
Thank you. Another question on the same subject. On your website, it states candidates must hold a valid medical license to practice ophthalmology in their respective country as one of the prerequisites. Does this mean that we would have to complete a residency in ophthalmology in Trinidad, for example?
So you have to have a license to practice in your respective country. Does it mean you have to complete a residency? You have to be a qualified doctor. So you have to have gone through some medical license to practice. And it would be pointless you taking the exam if you hadn't had that. So we will ask you to upload your proof that you are a doctor. And then, as I said, you will have to be registered or should be registered within ophthalmology training. However, if there's a delay in that and you're looking to get into ophthalmology, you may want this on top to push through your application if you're successful. However, I think it'd be very difficult for someone to pass, as these are high-end exams, if you haven't had any ophthalmology experience. But you do need to be a medically qualified doctor.
Thank you. 1 second, screen's froze. So what is the process of registration for the examination? Is there any way for someone to sit the exam prior to completion of their primary postgraduate ophthalmology qualification? For example, someone who completed medical internship in 2025 and cleared the FRC Ops Part 1.
If you've cleared FRC Ops Part 1, then you are able to take our exams, and you're in ophthalmology training. You are able to apply online if you go via our website. There's a link, and it'll take you directly to our portal. On the portal, you'll complete all your details, upload a photograph of yourself. Please don't upload any photo. It has to be clear of your face. We have some random photos, but we have to be able to see your face. Fill out the details, and then you can look on there for a desired centre. If there isn't a centre close to you, don't fret. Tick other, select other, and then type where you would like to take the exam. Putting your living room doesn't actually count. I think we had one of those today, but put your desired location, and then we will do our best to locate a centre for you. And then be able to send you the details. And as I said earlier, we have 100% success rate in doing that. So then you are able to proceed to the payment system. You can spread the payment over 3 payments, or you can pay outright. And then we will receive details on our portal. We will look at your qualifications that you've uploaded, and we may ask for further information or query something. But then we will go through a process of accepting your application, and then you will get contact from us via email. You can actually connect to the portal if you've got any questions, and they come directly through to us. So it's actually a portal of communication as well as application. So that's how you would apply for an exam. But again, if you've got any questions, best thing to do is email us, and either myself, Vicky, or Rosie will answer as soon as we can.
Thank you. What are the benefits of sitting this exam when compared with other established exams such as the ICO?
Our exam is of a high standard, exceptional standard, and I can't speak for the ICO at the moment, but our exams, accept the qualification of the ICO up until 2022. The benefits are it's internationally recognised, it's lower cost than the ICO, it's about half the cost of the ICO. We are looking to get reciprocity with other organisations, which means that you'll be able to move through their system, and you won't have to travel. You won't have to go to Egypt, I think, for the college exams. You'll be able to take them in your own country. So it would reduce cost of the exam, reduce cost of travel. You'll have fellowship opportunities that we discussed earlier. Cordula Obermeyer, who runs the fellowship program, would be the best person to talk to if you have any further questions about the fellowship. But you can have opportunity of applying for a fellowship, which are fantastic opportunities, as we discussed earlier. You have the opportunity of obtaining the David and Molly Pyatt Award, a £10,000 grant for being the top passing candidate. So what that says to you as well is that be prepared. Make sure that you study well, make sure you give yourself enough time, and you have the opportunity of obtaining the grant. You also get to use the post-nominal FIOF. And like I said earlier, that if you're going up against your colleague for a job, this is internationally recognised. So therefore, going up against your colleague or somebody else that hasn't got that exam, then your trainees and trainers and heads of departments will recognise that you've obtained this high qualification, and hopefully it will give you an advantage. And that advantage also is taken by your patients, because it proves that you have the highest standard of care, and therefore your patients will benefit from that. So I think there are lots of benefits, and I think it's important. There are other organisations out there, but again, we bring the exam to you. It's online, easy accessible. There's a payment plan, and it's much lower cost.
Thank you. Can the candidate use this qualification to apply for jobs in the UK, for example, after having clinical experience in Trinidad? Are there any affiliated accreditation boards within the UK that have recognised the FIOF?
Glasgow, so the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow are recognising our exam. I had a really fantastic meeting with their team last month, and then I am meeting them again. I met them today actually, and I'm meeting again with them on the 20th of February. And what we're doing at the moment, we're just going through standards. We're confident that our standard is exactly the same as theirs, as the highest level. And we're going to work out a reciprocal agreement where they will recognise the qualification, and you'll be able to move through their system quicker. Unfortunately, the Royal College of Ophthalmologists, we have a lot of them, some of their members on our team, and they sit on our committee, but they're linked to the General Medical Council, so it makes it slightly more difficult. But we know we're the same standard, because we have individuals that sit on our exams committee. But that's the way we're moving forward. We're also in talks with Edinburgh and or have been, but I think that's where we're going at the moment. It's not a license to practice, so we won't be able to sign off on that.
Thank you. The last question we have is, when would you suggest a candidate take the exam? So which year in their training for each exam?
So visual and optics, we recommend first, second year of training. Clinical ophthalmology, third, fourth year of training. But again, that's just a recommendation. I have had candidates in their first, second year of training pass the visual and optics, and then take the clinical, and are successful. So I think it depends on pretty much the individual. I also think it's important to say it depends what else is going on around you. So we know that you've got commitments and families, and so I think you need to position yourself where you've got the best possible chance of passing and being successful. So if you've got other commitments that your first, second year, and you're finding it slightly difficult, if you delay it slightly, then I don't think it actually it doesn't matter. I think you need to be confident in yourself and make sure that you're prepared to take the exams.
Thank you. And Rosie, that is all the questions done for this session. Thank you.
Can I ask one question, just as you're doing such a fantastic job? Quite often what we get is people have to take a break in taking exams. So maybe illness or family, as you put out, and you sit one part. Is there a stipulation in time where you have to complete this? Or is it that you sit them as you're ready and you feel competent? Take into account you may have a year or 18 months break, say you had a child or something like that.
Dr. Sharman, no, there's no pressure. I think we understand that people have got commitments and a life outside ophthalmology, and where we want you to pass. So there are no restrictions on it. If there are no restrictions on taking the exam as many times as you need to be successful either. I mean, we're aiming, we give you the full support in that we hope you're successful on your first attempt, but we also know that life gets in the way, and that's not necessarily possible. So we're there to support. And I think we had one trainee in Indonesia who wasn't successful in their first attempt, and we actually worked with him on a fantastic article that I think Rosie could send you a copy of for distribution on what to do if you don't succeed first time, and how you need to look at it and prepare and go again. And it can be a bit disconcerting sometimes, but as I say, you know, we're here to support and make sure that you actually, you know, can move through the system. And or again, you know, if you apply and something comes up, you know, you can't help if your child's ill, or, you know, we work around that as well. And, you know, we try and be as flexible as possible. So, you know, the best thing to do is communicate with us. And we'll do all our can to shift and help.
Oh,
Excellent. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to quickly share my screen again as requested, just once more to share our contact information. I've also put it all in the chat box. So if you want to scan the QR code, that will bring you to our website. And then as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, there's all our contact information and our email addresses if you want to get in contact with us with any questions. But thank you all very much for coming to our webinar today. We will be sharing this link with all of you and anyone who hasn't attended as well. And it will also be on our YouTube, so you can watch at any time. So it was lovely to meet you, Dr. Sharma, and thank you again to everyone for attending, and hopefully we'll all see you soon. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your contributions and your presentations this evening. I think it's given them a lot of information, given me a lot of information as well. And I think that you know, this is as I say, a step in the right direction. So thank you I know it's late where you are, so thank you very much for staying up and sharing your expertise with us. It's very, very much appreciated.
thank you.
You're very welcome, and it's very nice to meet you.
You too. Okay. Thank you.
you.
All the best.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.